But first, the man Sadiq Khan, once called ignorant and divisive, is back in the White House at the start of what could be an awkward 4 years between London and Washington. There's a lot riding on the UK's so-called special relationship, and London has an important part to play in that. But can the war of words be replaced by diplomacy and dialogue in the city likely to host President Trump when he comes to Britain? Well, here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
It was probably the last thing on his mind, but Donald Trump's return to the White House has reignited a feud between the American president and the Mayor of London.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
On Saturday, Sir Sadiq Khan used a newspaper article to warn we should be in no doubt this is a perilous moment. The spectre of a resurgent fascism haunts the West. And on Trump's ally Elon Musk, he wrote, a billionaire bully shouldn't be able to use his social media platform as a propaganda tool.
The mayor's motive for trying to become an American pundit is probably that everything is going so badly wrong here that it's a distraction for him from his day job. I mean, we're seeing the police underfunded, 1,300 police officers we may be about to lose because the mayor hasn't found the money in his budget.
Transatlantic sniping has long been a feature of the Trump-Khan years. The war of words between the two men began just over 9 years ago, before either of them were elected. Khan was horrified by Trump's proposal to ban Muslims from visiting America.
I think Donald Trump has ignorant views about Islam.
Trump responded by saying he was offended.
Yeah, I am, because he doesn't know me, never met me, doesn't know what I'm all about.
In the wake of the London Bridge terrorist attack in 2017, the mayor said people shouldn't be alarmed at seeing more police. Trump seemed gobsmacked, tweeting, at least 7 dead and 48 wounded in terror attack, and Mayor of London says there is no reason to be alarmed.
I simply haven't got time to respond to uninformed tweets from the President of the United States of America.
In 2018, the mayor defended the right of protesters to fly a nappy-wearing caricature of the president, known as the baby blimp, during his visit to London. Their spat was reignited during another visit a year later.
He is the poster boy now of the far-right movement around the world.
He should be positive, not negative. He's a negative force, not a positive force.
Are he and Sadiq Khan ever going to see eye to eye on things? No. Does that make a difference to what Trump's been mandated to do by the American people? No.
But there was some sympathy for the mayor's view among climate change protesters who unfurled a banner opposite the Houses of Parliament.
I am quite exasperated, depressed, that there was so little reaction to this. You know what I mean? They've just elected a neo-fascist climate denier to be the most powerful man in the world. You'd think there should be millions of people on the streets or something, you know what I mean?
The Labour mayor's sentiments weren't echoed by Britain's Labour government. Mindful of the need to build bridges with the new president, a minister said simply, we don't agree. Simon Harris, ITV News, City Hall.
The Chancellor is expected to give the go-ahead to a third runway at Heathrow, a move environmental campaigners claim would be catastrophic. Plans for expansion at the West London Airport have been discussed for decades, with the project first securing parliamentary approval almost 7 years ago. While Rachel Reeves refused to confirm anything today, a government spokesperson did say, we're determined to get our economy moving and secure the long-term future of the UK's aviation sector. Our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
For millions of Londoners living under the flight path, it's a question they want answered. Is the government about to give the green light to Heathrow Airport's long-debated third runway? Environmental campaigners are horrified.
It's going to have a devastating environmental impact right across London, across the southeast. The quality of the air, the climate change impact, but of course the noise impact on millions of people who are living under the flight path.
The on-off saga of the third runway has seen it stalled by COVID and legal action, then revived by the Supreme Court before being put on ice again. It's thought the Chancellor is about to announce government backing for airport expansion as part of her mission to kickstart economic growth.
There will be a wave of activity in and around Heathrow itself, planning consultants through to people building the runway, load of economic activity generated in building it. And then, of course, we'll have much better connectivity with the rest of the world, which is great for wider professional services and other jobs in and around London.
But a third runway will come at a high price for people living in villages like Harmondsworth.
If the third runway is built, this will be the boundary between Harmondsworth and the airport. All properties that side of the new fence will survive, but houses this side will be demolished.
Villagers here have lived with the threat of expansion for decades. Justine is a veteran campaigner against the plan. The runway will put the airport on her doorstep.
I happen to live in a listed building, so I couldn't soundproof it as one could a modern building. I couldn't go out in the garden when airplanes were going. You've heard this morning how noisy it is, and the planes would be a kilometre closer than that. So, the village will not be inhabitable.
Parmjit Dandra is a former Labour MP who lobbies for the third runway.
Local people here, well, we have a support base of over 100,000 people who want a new runway. They work here, they live here. These people want jobs and opportunities and investments for the next generation.
The Chancellor's announcement is expected next week. For people whose lives have been blighted for years, it could possibly mean the end of the exhausting rollercoaster of uncertainty. Simon Harris, ITV News, Harmondsworth.
Good evening. On the day that the Metropolitan Police was taken out of special measures, Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley says a funding gap means the force is still likely to lose 1,000 officers. The Met's been under intense scrutiny for 2.5 years, sparked by the public outrage following the murder of Sarah Everard at the hands of a serving officer. Today, the watchdog says good progress has been made in restoring faith in the service, but officials admit there's still more work to be done. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
And they ran towards Lewisham.
Every day, more than 8,000 Londoners ring Scotland Yard's emergency call centres. But when the Met was put into special measures in 2022, they were part of the problem.
We were only answering 60% of those within our target time of 10 seconds. And now today we're answering the majority of all of those 8,000 calls in under 10 seconds.
New technology, more staff and less bureaucracy have all helped.
Oh, I just went pepperoni, person, cheese, children.
In a control room in Lambeth today, the Met Commissioner met Pippa, who recently took a 999 call from a woman asking for a pizza. She realised straight away it wasn't a wrong number, but a call for help from the victim of domestic violence.
She was quiet on the phone and the children in the background sounded distressed. There was a tone to her voice which said that something wasn't quite right, so it was to ascertain whether she really needed a pizza or whether she really needed the police.
So what did you say to her?
I asked her if she wanted pizza or police, and that if she knew she was calling the police to say yes. And she said yes and made it quite clear.
The murder of Sarah Everard by a serving police officer in 2021 was one of a number of scandals which triggered the decision to put the Met into special measures. Today, the Chief Inspector of Constabulary said the force has made enough progress for that process to end. Call handling, the treatment of vulnerable people and investigations into missing and exploited children have all improved.
But there's another challenge facing the Met as it tries to rebuild trust with Londoners. Money. The Commissioner has warned of a worst-case scenario with drastic cuts looming.
A recent government grant left the force with a £450 million hole in its finances. The Commissioner is waiting to see what extra money he gets from City Hall.
Our budget's going in the wrong direction, our headcount is going in the wrong direction, and that's going to make it increasingly difficult. We're going to be making some tough choices over the next year. Our budget will be finalised over the next month, but I haven't seen anything to suggest that we won't be losing probably more than 1,000 officers and staff.
The Mayor says he's given record amounts of council taxpayers' cash to the Met, but is now looking to the government's comprehensive spending review in June.
I continue to lobby the government for more money in 25-26, but working with the Commissioner in the CSR.
Can you reassure Londoners that there won't be cuts this year?
I can't reassure Londoners, but the consequences of the last 14 years haven't been bad. Because of the cuts of the last 14 years, we've lost officers, we've lost police staff, we've had to sell off police buildings. Londoners know, though, my record.
Despite the decision to take the Met out of special measures, the Chief Inspector of Constabulary concluded there is still significant work to do.
So, Simon, what's next for the Met then?
Well, one area of concern for many Londoners, which the Commissioner said the Met will turn its attention to in the coming year, is what he calls volume crime. That's things like shoplifting and mobile phone theft. But clearly the big worry is that the progress made during the 2 years in special measures will be set back by the looming cuts. That worst case scenario painted by the Commissioner includes things like cutting the size of the dog unit, a smaller mounted branch, and telling the flying squad it has to give up its guns. We should know next month just how many jobs are going to go.
OK, Simon, thank you.